Good evening, alumni, faculty, staff, students, board members, and friends of New World School of the Arts. And I'm so glad that you're able to join us for this very special evening where we will be honoring a very special person. My name is Patrick O'Connell. I am the president of New World School of the Arts Alumni Foundation. And I want to take just a moment to recognize a few other folks that have joined us this evening. Our provost, Dr. Jeffrey Hodson, the chairman of the executive board, Mark Trowbridge, the fiscal agent of the New World School of the Arts Alumni Foundation, Danny Lewis, as well as all of the executive board members, foundation board members, and alumni foundation board members that are all in attendance tonight. It's great to see everybody. So the Alumni Foundation is an independent 501c3 organization run entirely by NWSA alumni for NWSA alumni. The foundation strives to empower our alumni artists to explore boldly, to create, to challenge, and to help each other to rise to their full potential. To achieve that mission, we do things like providing financial grants to support alumni creative projects and business pursuits. We provide college scholarships to graduating NWSA seniors. We set up alumni mentoring and networking opportunities and much, much more. We urge you all to get involved and to help bring this incredible community together and keep us together. We also need your ideas, energy, and perspectives. And there's a link that'll be in the chat there that you can use to sign up and make sure that we have your information, that we stay in touch with you. It's also available on our social media pages, which you should definitely stay tuned to. It's at NWSA Alumni on both Facebook and Instagram. And make sure that you check your emails or open them when you get them from us as well. So I just want to thank everybody who donated tonight. I can tell you that those donations are vital to help support our mission. If you haven't donated yet, please consider doing so now. That link will be in the chat as well. So a few quick housekeeping notes before we get started. The event is being recorded. Please make sure to keep your microphones off at all times. And for optimal viewing, please change your view to speaker view. And then feel free to use the chat if you want to chat amongst yourselves or add questions and so forth. And that's pretty much it. We're so excited to have you with us here tonight. And now it is my honor to present two individuals that really don't need much introduction. Of course, our honoree, the wonderful Dean Patrice Bailey, and our distinguished alum, Tarell Alvin McCraney. And with that, I'm going to hand it to you, Tarell. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. How are you all doing? I hope really well. Seeing by some of the reactions, some of the finger snapping, some of the waving. This is a lot. I promised Dean Bailey a fun time, so I will try to make sure that is what happens. I often promise dates that, and that's not what happens. So I will try to live up to my intention more readily here. My name is Tarell Alvin McCraney. I use he, him series pronouns. I have the honor of being a New World School high school alumni, 1999 music theater, although I still cannot sing. Shane Reinman would be very disappointed in that, but God bless her, she's with us tonight as we honor someone who is near and dear to our hearts, Patrice Bailey. I also want to acknowledge that New World School of the Arts stands on the indigenous land of the Miccosukee and the Seminole tribes, who remain unconquered and stewards of the land and waterways to this very day. We acknowledge the Tequesta, who first occupied the land that is now downtown Miami, where so many of us trudged from north and south to go to school at New World, connecting us in a wonderful tie to prehistoric and historic past. We also acknowledge that Miami downtown particularly are one of the few cities in the world with a woman as its founder. We acknowledge that great and unique history and recognize that the diverse, inclusive nature of our city is modeled in our New World School of the Arts. So we're talking to someone who is a first, someone who is a pioneer. Not necessarily a founder as a theater dean, but the longest running theater dean at New World School of the Arts, and maybe one of the longest running faculty members. Dean Bailey, thank you for joining us. I just want to say I want to say thank you first and foremost for your contribution and your service. And I just want to read a little bit about you, if that's all right. Is that okay?
That's fine. I'm a little nervous. You know all my secrets.
I don't. I really don't. I want to celebrate first in your own right that you are a dean that has led us through the height of the age of information, through a waxing and waning pandemic. You were the dean to make sure that we could do outside and inside performances and still keep the lights on. You served as dean of the theater division for over 10 years. You hold an MFA from Florida State University. Did that ever get in the way of you being connected to the University of Florida? Did you ever just sort of say, I can't rectify this because I'm a FSU, I'm a Seminole?
Never.
Never.
When the football games were taking place, I was usually in rehearsal or in the library.
Understood. At some point, the professional world of South Florida called to you. My first question is, where did it all begin? Did you grow up in the theater? Were you making little pageants in the lobby or living room of your house? How did it all start?
Well, my parents came here in 1952. And my mother got pregnant with twins and went back to New York City to give birth because she didn't trust the doctors in Miami. She thought Miami was a hick town. And they bought the house, which I still live in, across from Barry University, because the plan was all the girls would go to Barry University. And at Barry University, when I was a kid, my parents would take me to see theater. And it was either Coconut Grove Playhouse or Barry University. And Barry University would bring the Canadian National Shakespeare Company to Miami all the time, like once a year. And I remember my mother taking me to see Oedipus. And I was blown away. I was horrified when,
Wait, how old were you?
I don't know, maybe 10, 8, something like that.
Okay.
And my mother loved the theater. My parents loved the theater. My father was a cartoonist. My mother was very cultured, really missed New York City a lot, loved the opera. When my parents dated, took her to Broadway shows all the time. I think they saw the first production of Oklahoma. So when Barry was there, Barry was kind of this cultural center for Dade County. So I went there and I was like on my feet the entire time watching this production of Oedipus. When I
Oh, Patrice, you froze for a second. I think the cat might have gotten into the internet. Can you hear me? No. All right. Here's what I think. It's always the cat. Thank you, Danny. It's absolutely true. How about we all turn off our cameras and see if that gets Patrice back?
I think I'm probably going to have to leave and come back maybe.
No, you're back. We can hear you.
I am, okay.
So you stay. We're gonna disappear for a second.
All right.
Great. Now it's really like inside the actor studio. Can you hear us now, Patrice? Are you frozen still? I think the cats and the gremlins are at it again.
No, I'm alive. Are you there?
I am. I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Am I there?
You are. You're here.
Okay.
So.
Wait, when I saw that first production of Oedipus, it was something that I wanted to be in theater. I was like, I was so excited to see it. And every year my parents Barry would do these great musicals. They would do My Fair Lady, Sound of Music, and we would go all the time. And I was hooked. And Barry's students at the time ran a children's theater camp on Saturdays. So I asked my mom if I could go, and she said, sure. So I did that for a very long time. And then there was a nun there, Sister Marie Carroll, who was amazing and ran the theater program there. And I got to work with her during the summers. And when I went to high school, she would be coaching me on, because my school didn't have a drama program. So I joined the forensic team, the speech team. So she would put me on the stage and make me practice and make sure she could hear me in the last row. And so she really worked with me. And then when I went to college, I went to Miami-Dade College, had an amazing teacher there, Paula Milton, who had a very large impact in my life. And I was in a theater class. And as much as I loved it, I was like really more interested in something called oral interpretation of literature, which is the performance of literature. And she was an expert, took me under her wing, and I started competing on the state level. And finally, I won a state award for a that I did on women. And then I won a national award, the national championship, which got me a scholarship to Indiana State University. So I was on their team, but they were also connected. We would visit like Northwestern University all the time, who had an amazing oral interpretation program, amazing. And my love for literature and theater were combined. And while I was in Indiana State, I really discovered my love for directing. And I wanted to direct because I always saw the whole picture. I just didn't see myself. And I would be in these productions because we did like weekly shows on different authors usually. And I was always saying, looking at the director, and she was really great too, Sharon Daly, fabulous. And I was like, oh, I would have done it this way. Maybe I would do it this way. Oh my God, but I learned a lot.
You froze again, Patrice. Did we lose her this time? I think we might have. If you all are watching, we are having, the normal Zoom quality days here with probably because so many of you turned out. Thank you so much to honor and talk to Patrice. And so it's really compelling and wonderful to see so many faces. Some names I've recognized and haven't seen in years. Some I have, I don't know and are new. So that's incredible. We're gonna try to make sure we can get Patrice back.
I think she's back, Tarell. She just needs to unmute.
Got it.
Voila, great.
Where did we? Much.
We left off at Sharon Daly was doing what, shows every day,
Right.
And you were judging her.
Well, I mean, she was amazing. She was a professor. She was amazing. But I came back to Miami and eventually started teaching at FIU. And FIU is the degree granting institution of New World School of the Arts. And I decided to get my MFA from Florida State. They sent me to New World School of the Arts because there was supposed to be one faculty member from FIU. So I started teaching under Jorge Guerra, who was amazing. And Jorge asked me to direct. So my first production there was Man of La Mancha with Matt Glass, who I saw was here, and had an amazing experience directing that production. And then the University of Florida came in and I was asked to stay as a faculty member from FIU. And that's how I ended up. And that was not, I came to New World in 93 with FIU and then took the full-time position in 94 and taught for 8 years.
Wow.
And then stepped up to the dean's position when Jorge left.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about mentorship and students because as you know, well, from early on, we had conversations about running programs. And I, like you, wanted to go off and lead a program. And so I lead the program in playwriting at the Yale School, formerly the Yale School of Drama, now the David Geffen School of Drama at Yale, which is harder to say in one breath. But taking over that, I realized that there are students you'd rather not see again. And then there are students you will never forget. And sometimes those are not mutually exclusive, right? Sometimes the students you never want to see again are also the students you'll never forget. But I want to talk about, are there any moments in mentorship that have made you really proud? You often talk about working with students as colleagues and talk to us a lot about us joining the field in a way that felt like we would one day work together. What's behind that philosophy? I mean, I can see it was modeled in your early years, but what's behind that philosophy, and have there been any highlights from you working with students professionally?
Well, you know, I grew up in Miami and with Miami Theater. And with Miami Theater at the time not being very good, of going to shows and going, oh my God, the acting is terrible. Why does this director pick this show? I don't understand what's going on. So when I went to New World, I felt like I was on a mission to really contribute to actors that would be far superior in the work that they're doing. And probably a turning point for me was when I Faith Healer with David Quiet and Cynthia Capewell and Andy No, where I don't know if Miami had ever seen a production like that. You know, a show with 3 actors and doing monologues. And these actors were amazing. That show was a gift to all of us. And you could see the transformation happening in the audience as they were listening to this play. And you needed to be perfectly still to hear the last word. And I remember the students helping us and how blown away they were by watching this artistic teamwork. And I think that had a big impact on the community and a big impact on myself and our students. Quiet and I would talk about this all the time. We're creating artists who we want to work with, and we want to be working side by side with them. And so that was sort of my mission in going on, because I saw the potential Miami had, the talent that Miami had, but didn't really have the training, especially in acting, that students needed. And what's special about New World, and I'm proud of a lot of things, but when we take students who don't have a lot of training, who may have never read a play before, who may have never gone to the theater, and then they come into New World and they are transformed. And I am so proud of those students. You know, I look at the production of Ragtime this year, with the student that played Cole had auditioned 3 weeks before classes started, really wasn't experienced, couldn't really, you know, he had this voice, but he didn't know what to do with it. And he was so green. And when he came into the program, I was ready to kill him all the time because he wasn't doing the homework. He wasn't memorizing his lines, everything else. I was always yelling at him. And then to see this performance at the end of his 4 years was remarkable. It was remarkable. You know, and Tarell, I go back to when I was always coaching that speech classes because the Capewell couldn't get there in time with you and the gang.
I remember that. And I think I will never forget, we worked on my Siegel monologue that got me my call back at Juilliard.
Oh my gosh.
I remember you were adamant that I say all the words that were written on the page. And that's when I knew I wanted to be a playwright, because I was like, oh, you actually have to write things down for people to say it. You can't just say anything you want. You have to look at the words, and the words mean something. And I remember telling a student something you told me, which was, no playwright ever writes OH for you to just say it under your breath, right? No playwright ever writes AH or awe or any of that. And that comes from when you were directing All Wilderness, right?
Oh,
it's
gosh.
like, why would you ever say that underneath? Why would you grumble those words? Your awe is there for you to open up your entire mouth, chest, and breathe. And I remember that. And when I write today, I have to remind people, I was like, I didn't write an O there for you to say it underneath your breath. I said for you to say it out loud, for you to exclaim.
Right.
I just want to say, first of all, thank you for sharing that, because again, it moves me so much to think about, you know, the mission of the schools. New World is a unique program founded out of North and South payback programs and forged with the guidance of these 3 partners to provide accessible, excellent performance, professional arts education to the area, for the areas, very in line with, you know, the writers' projects back in 1926 around the federal theater projects and the regional theater projects, really to make sure and enrich programs in neighborhoods and communities. And you've done that. There are folks from all over the South Florida area who are now all over the world and can attest to having great training. You've left a legacy of playwrights and directors in your wake, though. Talk about that. Because yes, you know, the program is mostly about performance, but you've also tried to expand in playwriting and directing, even in the technical aspects of the theater. What was the motivation behind that?
I've always believed that New World should be the center of the arts for Dade County. That's always been my belief. And that we should be on trend and we should be doing experimental work, and, you know, theater's for everybody. So when I find a student, for example, and if we don't have playwrights, you know, what are we going to do with theater? We got to have playwrights. And when these young kids come to me and they say they're interested in playwriting, and I put them in a playwriting class, like my juniors in the high school, I'll put them in the senior class to start working. And it just changes everything about them because they feel very valued, and they are valued because they are really wonderful artists that have a lot to say and they find their voices. You know, the playwriting program at New World to me is so important. And I inherited that from Jorge Guerra. You know, he started the Playwrights Festival. I worked in it every single year. It was one of my favorite things to do as a faculty member was be in that guerrilla theater mode. And to see the crowds all coming to see these young playwrights was fantastic. He and Richard Gennaro, you know, Richard Gennaro, who was one of my teachers when I was 18 years old, was the associate dean at New World when I came. So I finally feel like I have to live up to his legacy as well. And I've always wanted a directing program at New World. I keep hoping one day there'll be an MFA directing program there.
Is that the next step for the program, you think?
I would hope so. You know, it's challenging because you're working with the University of Florida, so there's a lot of hoops to go through. And, you know, our facility is so small and we would need more faculty because all this costs money. Same thing with the tech program. You know, we need a state of the art to have a tech program here. But there's such a need for that. But I'm so proud of the kids that graduate from New World and go for the MFA in directing. And they've had that opportunity to direct at school and do studio productions and watch other directors and get that bug as well. And you see that with the playwrights as well. I mean, the Playwrights Festival is always fabulous. And was the 25th or 30th anniversary, I commissioned a play from you, you know, and I remember paying you, Lucas Living, you were like, what, you're paying us? Yes.
No, I remember specifically. And I also remember and from the beginning, you directed Ronald Duncan's play. The year before that, you directed a play, David Quiet. I mean, you as a faculty got in there and directed these early voices. Raquel Almazan's play. I mean, just really, really, really getting in and again, treating us like colleagues in the art. I have to turn on my camera for something because I have to say something to you that's very important. I have known for a long time that it was really that it's important for you that we make a stake in the notion of directing for the theater program. And so for what I'm going to do is donate $1,000 for every year that you have taught and been at New World, which if we've been calculating right is over 20, towards a scholarship for any woman who wants to go to an MFA program in directing outside of the school.
My God.
So that will be in your name because that legacy about women directing and having a voice in the theater has been part of the legacy you left with me for sure. And of course, if anybody else wants to donate to that fund, I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to talk to Dr. Hodson about it. But it really is to thank you, Patrice, for just, my grandfather, I'm a third generation Miamian, but my grandfather built a building in Coconut Grove years ago, and he left these spokes on top of the building. And I always would be like, what the hell are these spokes for? And my grandmother would say, well, just in case the next generation wants to build another floor or another story. And that's what you've done. You've left us the spokes to build another story. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, I just wanted to let you know that. We'll go back to it being fun. What's the weirdest?
That means so much to me, Tarell. I mean, I'm blown away. I'm really blown away.
No,
it means a great deal.
And I can't wait for us to be able to do that for a student who is interested in directing. Again, to have that support. And then maybe one day we'll be able to have that program actually at New Orleans School of the Arts. Listen, what's the weirdest thing you've ever had? What is the weirdest opening night gift you ever got?
The weirdest opening night gift?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever gotten anything weird. You know, I will tell you that the toughest opening night though.
Okay.
The toughest opening, hardest show I ever directed was Sweet Cherry. Because back in the day, if you remember, the high school did not have their own musical. And it was combined with the college. And the college students the high school kids never got leads in the production. So the college kids always got the lead. So here I come along, I think it's my second year, and I'm sitting with Paula Wayne and Ron Hedrick, and we're bringing kids in to audition for Sweet Charity. And we saw like 80 girls. And in walks this girl, Liza Quintana, who blew me away. She could dance it, she could sing it, and she had the vulnerability of charity. And I leaned over to Paula Wayne. I said, that's our girl. And she looked at me and said, are you nuts? I said, why? And she said, she's in high school and she's only a junior. I said, so what? She goes, oh no, only the college kids get the leads. I said, oh no. I said, she's it. So I did a call back where I invited all the college girls in so they could see the competition and see that she was the girl. Well, the college was furious. High school was jumping up and down for joy when I cast. I was very popular in the high school. You'd get in the elevator at the high school and the college kids, and they wouldn't speak to each other. You'd go to rehearsal. Everybody was fighting all the time. All I did was yell at people. I just yelled at people all through rehearsal because they were so mean to each other. So when we get to dress rehearsals, we're at the theater, and two of the who were from the dance division decided during the show, they had a set change, that they were hungry and went to Burger King in costume during the show, so the set did not get moved. So I'm outside the colony, and of course, you know me, my Irish. So I'm yelling at these kids, like, where the heck did you go? Oh, we were hungry. We couldn't do this. We had done like, and I'm like, you were nuts. So I'm yelling at these two kids. And one was a young man, and I didn't know his mother was behind me. So the next day I get called into Jorge Guerra's office, and he says, this mother called and complained about you yelled at her son and you shouldn't have yelled at her son. So I said, I'm going to yell at this kid because let me tell you what he did. And so Jorge's like, well, good luck. Opening night happens. I'm all dressed up. And I remember Karen Bejarano was hanging outside the theater. We had to have trailers in because they didn't have dressing rooms. So they had trailers in the back of the kids. And I drive by, I see her and I wave and we're all happy and everybody looks great. He says, you need to go to Eckerd's, which at that time was the drugstore on Miami Beach. It was all over South Florida. I said, why? She goes, because 2 kids have gotten arrested. So you need to go. So I go into Eckerd's, and here is this kid who had to go to Burger King, stealing makeup at Eckerd's, and another kid who had been stealing makeup. And so I'm begging the cop to let them go. He will not let them go. He says, look, I'll give you the kid who's 17, but the 18-year-old's mother's getting called and she has to come down. I can't guarantee that he's going to be in the show. So I'm panicked because this kid did all the lifts. He was a beautiful dancer, did all the lifts. And the provost at the time comes to me and says, you need to pull this kid out. Don't let him in. I said, well, I'm hoping he's going to get out in time. And he did get out in time for the show. But then the provost didn't want him in the show. I said, it's too dangerous. I have to take him out. And the provost said, well, you can just reblock this entire show Saturday morning. I don't want him in the show. And I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. There's no way we're going to redo this entire play without this kid. So it's his punishment that he was not allowed to bow on stage at the end. So he's just arrested. He's lucky the cop left him go and is more angry, not about being arrested, that he's not allowed to take a bow.
Wow.
And I have to tell you, that kid I saw about a year ago came into the office and I saw him, and he was in The Lion King. He was on did all this amazing work. And he came in and I reminded him of this. It's like, oh my God, I thought you had forgotten that. I said, I will never forget it. That was really the worst opening night, but the show was fantastic.
I remember that show.
Yeah, the show was fantastic.
I remember that show. And clearly I was a dumb kid who never knew any of this was happening. So
Oh my God.
You did a good job of keeping it under wraps because I had no idea. Wow. Listen, I wanna stop laughing. First of all, it's not funny. People being arrested is not funny. What do you like when you say, when you know that someone has to come in and who may not have grown up here or has, you've got this program in your DNA. Like you said, the legacy was passed on from folks who had just been in it from the beginning. How do you get the next person? What do you do to pass on the mantle? What advice do you give?
Well, the secret will be whether or not they want advice. I feel very good that Jim Randolph is still there at New World, carrying the mantle on. And of course, Jeff Tez. I mean, you have a lot of new faculty. I mean, it really has changed a great deal. And, I'm always available if anyone has any questions about it. We trust the committee and the provost to really find the best person they can in the country. I'm very grateful that Jeffrey Hodgson is the provost and is a theater lover. And he knows the department very well, and he knows my work very well. And I know that it's in good hands, especially with him.
When you think about, well, first of all, when you think about the days going forward, I mean, you know you're leaving us in the lurch a little bit, because nobody really puts together the Rising Stars performances like you do, and we have to raise money. Okay, we've got to have a gala. So, is there any way to talk you back into at least coming back to do the gala? Is there any way?
Well, I would love for Jeffrey, after I'm out of here, to invite me back. We'll see, because giving up Rising Stars is one of my favorite things that I do. And sometimes I don't even know how I do that show.
Yeah.
But it's like my baby. And I remember, and I told someone recently this, when Jorge was doing it, the show would be 3 hours long. So my first job was to bring that show into 2 hours. And that's what I decided to do. And in my first show, I was a nervous wreck. And I remember sitting watching the tech run of the dress rehearsal, and I screwed up the formula. There's a formula to Rising Stars. And I had ended the first act with opera students. So the show is building, and all of a sudden you got this, the opera kids on stage, and everything just fell flat. Not because they weren't talented, it was just because of the format. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? I have a full orchestra here that should end Rising Stars first act. And I watched this whole thing, and I'm thinking, I'm a nervous wreck. I've never worked with these unions like this. You know, everyone's looking for me for all the answers, and I'm like shaking in my boots. My brother, when he came into earlier, when I used to stage at the house all the time, and I have a porch and that stage, and then I had a little stage in the garage. And my brother said to me, he goes, "This sure beats the garage, Patrice. You've really done well," because I'm like a wreck. And so Jeff Quinn, of course, was wonderful stage manager and worked very closely on Rising Stars. So the dress rehearsal ends, and Quinn says to me, "All right, got any notes?" I said, "Yeah, here they are." And I give him this legal pad. I said, "I've changed the lineup in the first act. We're ending with the orchestra." And he looked at me, and these union guys are standing behind him, and says, "You got it." And I went to dinner. Jeff stayed. We did all the signage backstage. All the kids had to be told that the order was all changing. Orchestra had to be told. And I just held my during it. And at the end of the act, when the orchestra finished, the audience leapt to their feet. And I remember Jeffrey Hudson looking at me, we were so excited. And it was thrilling to see that happen. And then I went, oh, I've got a formula. So there's a formula to Rising Stars.
Well, listen, if you can just make sure that you put the formula somewhere so that people can find it, because I do remember the 3-hour galas, and I don't, you know, as much as I love the alma mater, I don't know that I can sit through 3 hours of Rising Stars, right? I think it's like, I barely can sit through 3 hours of Already Stars. I fall asleep at the Tonys, the Academy Awards. I almost fell asleep at, but then, you know, they called the wrong name and I had to get up. So the important part is that, you know, making sure you leave that formula for somebody. I'm going to ask a couple of questions that folks wrote in, and I think, and you know, answer them if you'd like. If you don't, you can always plead the fifth, like so many folks are doing currently. The question, what brings a smile to your face when thinking of your time at New World School of the Arts? That is from Matthew Buffalo, who's a faculty.
Oh my God, there's just too many. You know, New World has been, I will admit that New World was my dream job. It really turned into my dream job. You know, I sometimes would say, I can't believe I've got this job. And I'm a sort of a worker bee, so sometimes you kind of forget because you're so busy in the operations. But really, I think that wonderful work always brings a smile to me. You know, and Tarell, I have to, you know, I look back on my relationship with you when we did our first fundraiser together. And I had been out of the hospital, and I had been gone for 10 months because I'd been so sick. I almost died. It was very dramatic. And Tarell says, let's do this little fundraiser together, which we did. Oh,
you cut out for a second, Patrice. Yep, that damn cat. Yeah, I know.
And this 2-day event, and you read, and you're sitting in an audience watching this play and watching, and at the end of it, got so like overwhelmed. And that's what theater should do. When you get overwhelmed like that, and I had this thing in my chest, I was about to burst out crying at any minute because I saw this theatrical event that you don't see very often. And that brings a smile on my face. And really what brings a smile on my face is kids doing great work. And I've had so many students that you think, I don't know. Remember Tyrone Davis? It was like Tyrone was not getting it. And then he did Parade and he got it. And I remember sitting there crying in the audience, like, I can't believe this kid put it all together. And that's what brings me the most happiness, when I see that kind of work that the students are capable of doing, who didn't think they were capable. And then you see the growth. And I've had the opportunity to see Tyrone on stage doing remarkable work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wonder if there are any projects
And Tyrone came from the music division. Yeah.
I wonder if there are projects that you have that you couldn't do at New World, or that now might be possible that you'll do out. Like, so what's next? Do you think maybe you'll go back into the community in the field and direct some things? Are there any projects that you're, wishing that you could do now that you may have the time to do it?
Well, I certainly don't want to give up directing. I mean, when I entered the theater, it's like my home. I'm like, you're so alive as soon as you walk in the door. It's where you belong. So the nice thing about theater, it doesn't matter how old you get. I do want to take time for myself. I really need time for me. And I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, I'm really looking forward to not, even though I've been working a lot from home, the days are long. And when you work at home, it's like you're working sometimes till 9 o'clock at night. And certainly this year doing ragtime was physically draining for me, but we pulled up and we did it, and it was fabulous. So I want to, just take care of myself, because I really haven't focused on that in a while. And then I'm hoping someone, maybe an alumni, will hire me to do something. And I'd like to go back really to adapting scripts that I used to do, because I become a Mockingbird. I've done a lot of Southern literature. I always loved narrators. I was a really good narrator when I performed that point of view of the narrator and how the narrator sees things. There's a play I did, My Side of the Matter, years ago at FIU. It was and it's very much that, well, here's my side, this is what really happened, and it's like you look at the character and really, is it really happen like that? So I certainly would like to continue to work in the theater, and maybe do some adjunct teaching eventually too.
Yeah, I think, well, what's exciting about listening to that is that there's this whole other chapter of your own generative work and also directing work that we will now be able to engage, right? Because you don't have to, make sure all the grades are in. You can
exactly.
You can now direct us in shows. That's incredible.
And the only time I would direct at New World was really the month of January, February. And I did my project at the beginning of the Discovery Project. It's a freshman college kids, but you're so busy, it's really hard. And it's hard to stay so focused. I hate all the distractions when I'm trying to direct. I just want to focus on that.
Listen, I believe it. I totally believe it. Listen, we're gonna definitely have more questions and open up so people can say hello and chat. But I want to just turn it over. I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to ask these questions, allow us to have this conversation. I've learned so much, even though I've known you what feels like most of my life. I feel like I've gotten a deeper window, and I hope to get to learn more about you as a professional, and as a colleague, as you've always promoted us and given us a platform to do so. I'm going to turn it over to Patrick really fast so he can give us some closing remarks. And then again, we'll open it up for everybody to say hellos and have a less formal conversation.
Great.
Patrick?
Yeah, thanks so much, Tarell and Patrice, Dean Bailey. I mean, this was amazing. It's so great to hear about your beginnings in the theater and how you kind of came along in Miami and came to this position at New World. So we're going to give this a shot, right? I mean, it seems like Zoom is having a little bit of its issues with bandwidth this evening, but I think the idea is for folks to raise their hand, use the hand raise button through Zoom, and then folks can ask questions directly to you. or to Tarell, or kind of both of you together. And just a couple reminders. New World School of the Arts Alumni Foundation, please remember us. Please watch for our emails, follow us on social media, donate when you can. Obviously, we need some funds to keep all of these things moving forward, and we appreciate all the support that we get. But that's pretty much it. We're so appreciative of this evening, and we hope that people stay on for a little while to just kind of chat in a more open format. And I just got a reminder, don't forget Facebook and Instagram too, to keep up to date on all things NWSA alumni. So with that, I'll just kind of let people, if you want to go ahead and turn your cameras on, let's kind of see how this goes. Go ahead and do that. And if you want to chime in
with the first question. Jim?
Hi. Hi, Patrice. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I haven't seen you for a long while. So the question I have for you is, are you going to try to take a vacation after all of this work somehow?
Well, I will when I feel better. You know, I've been physical therapy a lot. So once I get these legs back, definitely. I mean, my dream was always to travel anyway. Now I have this fantasy of like renting a house in Italy or in London for like a month and staying there. So yeah, hopefully.
I think you should.
I do need a vacation for sure.
Yeah.
Someone told me that when you retire, you for a week. So I thought, okay, I can do that.
What do you do for a week?
Sleep.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I suppose so. I guess that makes sense. All right, that's the question I have. I guess I'm sure others have questions.
Thank you, Jim, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Sure.
Just looking to see if there are any more hands. If you don't know how to use the hand raise focus, there is a little button called reactions. Ooh, Garrett?
Yeah, I have been involved with the New World School almost since its inception. And I don't know anybody that's been involved that has done more and been better for the school and been more creative than Patrice. And she will truly, truly be missed. She's done such a wonderful job for the school and for all of the students that have been there, as you know. She's just something very, very special, a beautiful, special lady. And Patrice, thank you so much for being part of the school for so long and doing so much for the school.
Thank you very much. And thank you for being here tonight.
Thanks so much, Gordon. And thank you for all your support. Garrett, I'm so sorry. I think I said I platformed you and then didn't give you space to speak.
Hey, no problem about that. Thank you very much. Either way, hi, Patrice.
Hey, Garrett.
The biggest question I had was when you first came into your position as dean. You used to tell us a little bit about your stories, but I wanted to know what the first really big hurdle was when you came in as dean.
I think the entire year was a big hurdle. I had no idea what I had gotten myself into. And I had a lot of plans because I was lucky that I had been there for 8 years because I knew I could organize, give it some structure that it needed. But I was so scared. I think I was yelling at everybody all the time. And my shoulders were like high like this. And high school was a big problem for me because I never worked with high school kids. So I was always yelling at them. And Jim will remember, we had like the worst senior class ever. They were never coming to class. I would go out to lunch and I'd see them out of McDonald's and yell at them to get back to school. One day I left early, like the first time ever, like at 3 o'clock. And I went to my car down that old garage that always was so stinky and smelly. And there were kids on my car, seniors, smoking dope. And Ellery and I was like, I'm taking you to Ellery Brown right now. Get off my car. I was always yelling at people. And probably the best thing that happened to me the last day of school, the seniors had graduated, the kids, my shoulders are nice and low. I have a smile on my face saying, have a great summer, everybody. Have a great summer. And this little 9th grade girl came up to me and she said, Dean Bailey, can I ask you a question? I said, of course you can. And she said to me, why are you always so angry? It's like, oh my God. what have I done all year? I'm like at a rope. And I had the whole summer to really reflect on that. And just, I came back so different because I was just a nervous wreck. And being nervous, I was yelling at people all the time. And when I came out of second year, I just started a positive reinforcement and really seeing who these students are and not being so afraid to do my job. But that first year was very, very tough. And being a dean is, there's so many elements to it. It years to learn the job because there's just so much to it. Once I learned it, then I got more comfortable in the position. I didn't even want people calling me dean. I used to say, call me deanette. I would like make a joke out of it, you know, because I couldn't see myself really in that role completely. But that did change.
And we will not mention what year that was, even though some people in the chat want to know, and some people in the chat might answer. But we're not going to say that because this is being recorded, and we're not going to incriminate anybody.
Exactly. And heck, you know, a lot of those kids in that class I have seen again, and they're fabulous. You know, when you're a teenager, and you're working with someone who doesn't have a clue what they're doing, you get walked all over. You know, so.
Listen, I would love to just give it to teenagers, but I have 30-year-olds who call me in the middle of the night, and I sometimes go to my car and find them smoking dope. So backstage boosters, you have a question, and then we'll go to Jorge.
Hi, Dean Bailey.
Hello.
I wanted to know what you hope for New World in the future.
I just wanted to grow, to get more students involved in New World. I'd love to see more degrees being offered at New World. I really believe that New World is the place to be. It changes people's lives. And I want to really take advantage of that and to see that growth and New World to continue to have the impact that it has had in this community. I mean, when you look at someone like Tarell McCraney, who is an Oscar winner and was at New World in my class, and how fabulous is that? And you see our alumni getting out there and doing the work and changing the work. And we just want more and more students to be able to do that. So yeah, and a new building would be fantastic. Ellery Brown did say to me, like my second year as dean, my brother-in-law, Michael Spring, was working on the Art Center, and we were hoping to bring New World there. And he came in and talked to the executive board and everything. And Ellery said to me, Patrice, this will never happen in your lifetime. And I was like, ah. She was right. So I'm hoping in the future that we will get a new building and a new theater and state-of-the-art equipment in the building. I mean, the school deserves it. Students deserve it, and the faculty.
Absolutely. Mr. Jorge.
Good evening, all. And Patrice, thank you. I had the privilege of joining the New World family, and I do thank you for allowing me in. Many years ago when Ellery dragged me in, I was the director from the region who came to work with Ellery, and she made me a convert in 1 hour as she dragged me across the streets of downtown Miami, and I was hooked ever since. But you made a statement just a few moments ago in reference to it's the school, and it absolutely is the school. From the time that I joined you guys, I've been a proponent of the school. I have the privilege of serving on the executive board. But one of the things that I want to commend you for, and you have in your narrative this evening, you have illustrated not only that you were committed, but you lived and you walked in the shoes that made the difference. And that's why I'm such a supporter of the school, because this is a unique setting for very unique individuals. And we have the capacity and the ability to change lives. Many of the students who attend there might not otherwise succeed in a traditional high school, but here they flourish, but they only do so because of individuals like you that have made a commitment to make a difference and have made a commitment to challenge them and to move forward in their skill. And I want to thank you for having had the privilege of being with you, witnessing you in the different venues and activities and performances that you have put on for us. And again, I thank you for making a difference and changing the lives of the students that you have touched.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I just want to say on record that I auditioned for the school 3 times in order to, and didn't make it my freshman year. My sophomore year, I did make it, and I got waitlisted, and I got called back to do a special conversation with Ellery Brown. And I remember Patrice and Mr. Remus called me and said, "Hey, we want to give you a shot. We think you can make it here. We think your grades aren't great and you have no training, but we think you might make it here." And lo and behold, I don't know. If they hadn't believed in me, I love to see it. Look at all the folks who are putting down same here for college, same I got waitlisted too, right? This isn't the narrative about New World that is true is that this is a community school. It's about making sure that students, people in the community around New World have access to professional training. And you've been a part of that legacy. Safanya.
Hello, Tarell. Hi, Dean Bailey.
Hi.
Good evening. I'm certainly going to miss coming into your office for advice and all your stories that you've given us throughout the years. That being said, my question is, as one of your alumni, one of the students who graduated, could you leave us with one last piece of advice as for us starting our careers as we see you begin a new one?
Well, I don't have just one piece of advice. I always have a lot of advice, but it's don't give up. If you want to do the work, no matter what it takes, no matter where it takes, no matter how you do it. I mean, you're all artists, and there are going to be, blocks in front of you that stop you, and times that stop you because of money or relationships or whatever is out there. Continue. I left theater for a long time, for a while, and came back to it. Once it's in your blood, it's in your blood. You're going to go back, but don't give up. And know that there are people here to support you, both in the Alumni Association. I tell everyone to go to my Facebook page because I have all these alums in there who are more than happy to talk to you. Reach out to your faculty and New World and let them be the support that you need. But, and I would say the other thing is always just find the joy in the work. As crazy as New World would get and as frustrated you might get sometimes, it's always fun. We always had a sense of humor about stuff. And finding the joy in the artistic work that you're doing. And that would be all of my advice for right now.
And great advice it is. I want to go to Nancy Walcott and Jeff Donnelly.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Hi, Nancy.
Oh, where did they go?
Where'd she go?
I think she's on mute.
I think they may have pressed the wrong button and disappeared
It
themselves.
sounds like it, yeah. Maybe she'll come back.
Yeah. Any other questions from the Peanut Gallery? Oh, there they are. Nancy, Jeff, can you hear us? We can't hear you. You don't seem to be muted, but we can't hear what you're saying. No, I can definitely see that you're saying something. I cannot hear it though.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there they are.
Years.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, go ahead. We were so obedient to the thing about being muted that he turned off the microphone. Obviously I appreciate your work in theater, but I also want to salute you for something that's much less visible, which is being a really good administrator. It's not as fun, it's not as glamorous, it's behind the scenes, but if it's not there, and we have examples in the past of various places where that falls apart, the artistic part doesn't have a chance to move forward, and the students don't have the support they need. So as a fellow administrator who worked with you and admired you, I salute you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that because sometimes I don't think of an administrator. But I really appreciate that.
But you get it done, which is the important thing.
I do get it done. That's a theater person. You got to get it done no matter what.
Exactly. And on time. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see both of you.
Good to see you.
Well, listen, if there are no other questions, I will happily say good
Wait,
night.
I have a
wait.
question.
You do, Gordon. Sorry. Apologies. I didn't see your hand. Go ahead.
Patrice,
Yes,
what are your plans in retirement?
I'm going to rest. I'm going to take care of myself and hopefully do a little traveling when I get an opportunity and do some theater work if someone will hire me. Maybe I'll make real money from directing finally.
I think there are a lot of people who hire you, actually.
Very rarely have I ever gotten paid.
What is resting?
Resting? I
Yeah.
need to relax, Gerald. I need to relaxed. I've been too stressed out. So my plan is to
Okay.
relax, whatever that means.
Well, enjoy it.
I will.
Randy, good to see you.
You too.
Randy Berry.
Hi. I don't have a question. I just want to say that I love you and thank you.
So good to see you. And I have been following you along. You're doing such great stuff. You and Dichi. And I think, Randy, you were in my first class, weren't you? My first acting class at New World?
I was, and I'm doing it with a lot of New World people. There's several New World people on the board of my organization. Deshelle is one of them. And it's because of you all, and you especially, Patrice. So I'm so grateful. It's so amazing to see what so many people have done, and I'm grateful to you, and I'm grateful to my time at New World.
Yeah, well, thank you. I have memories of that crazy class.
It was
and what
crazy,
a great class. It was a great
Yeah.
class.
Yeah, extremely talented group of people in a very special place. You
Yes.
all cultivated that, which is amazing, and I'm grateful to you.
Well, I
That's
think
all.
we all did it as an ensemble.
Yeah.
It was really great. But thank you, Randy. So great to see you.
You too.
And thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah.
And the star of Into the Woods, the baker's wife, Violet.
Violet.
Oh boy, thanks Tarell for this amazing introduction. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say that I entered New World School of the Arts at a little bit of an older age, kind of I was 10 years older than everybody else. And I have to tell you, just like Patrice mentioned earlier, there's tough times you go through and interesting kind of transformations and so forth. By far, you don't understand how amazing this place is and what it gives to you. You may not realize, I don't know if the young people here, there's high schoolers in this place or people that have started, in the college department. What this place gave to us is uncomparable to anything else. The community, the teachers that were there, some of them are no longer there, but David Quiet, Patrice obviously is here, Andy Noble, Octavio, who is not here anymore, and I don't know, maybe he's on the chat, I don't see. But the tremendous performances and the training that we had and what really created, not only as artists, but as human beings, has been absolutely uncomparable to anything else. It just created us as something between artists and human beings, so strong and so wonderful that I forever will be grateful. And for Patrice, I can tell you, I can't thank you enough because you have been so tough. And you and I had some things going on throughout times. And there's not one single time that I will ever forget that you had actually beat me up. And I say, man, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So grateful for the rest of my life, for everything you have ever done, given, and have created me the person that I became today. So, and I'm also grateful for this one that suddenly came into my
I know.
It's not about
Our
me.
second generation New World students.
Second generation New World, and also what this place has given to her as well has been absolutely wonderful and transformational. The community is beautiful. So thank you so much for everything, and I hope that we'll continue being together in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank
I
you
don't
so
remember
much.
any beating up though.
But it was, you know how it is. It's like you're insecure, and then you think that it is. But it was.
Get your act together.
Yes, that's it. That's it. I needed every single one of it, so it's been absolutely wonderful. Mr. Randolph is here too, and the teachers I've been together with, and it's just, and the colleagues I've worked with. Tarell was one of them, and Miss Lozano is here as well, and some other ones that I can just quickly spot if I don't mention any names, so forgive me. But everyone that has been in my time in 1997 to 2001, thank you so much for everything you've ever given to me. you made me a different person and a better person. Thank you.
Thank you, Violet.
I'm going to ask Jacqueline to ask the question, and then I'm going to pass the torch of host over to Patrick. Jacqueline.
You're muted.
That part. Sorry.
Hey, Jackie.
Hi, Dean Bailey. How are you? Sorry.
Good.
I kind of don't have my voice at the moment. I know it's horrible, but you can still hear me?
Yes.
I hope. Okay. I don't really have a question. I just wanted to be here, to hear all the questions and be here for support and everything. And I just wanted to share my immense gratitude because I'm pretty sure with all the crying I did in your office, I could have flooded the entire thing, like just sink like in Alice in Wonderland. But I just want to thank you for letting me cry in your office and then also letting me have my 5-minute pity party, as you would say. But then, smacking me into shape of like, okay, like you got to get back out there, you got to keep going and everything, because I did multiple times that New World was very, very on the verge of like giving up. Honestly, it was tough, but I am very grateful for you for giving me hope and the courage to keep going. And now I'm graduated, so I'm just so grateful. So I just wanted to say that. No questions, just gratitude.
Well, thank you. You are amazing. Never forget that.
Amazing.
Thanks, Jacqueline. And I guess I'm stepping in. I'm honored actually to be following Tarell McCraney. I just wanted to thank Tarell. I know he's got a meeting he needs to get to with some folks on the West Coast. He has some very long days. So thank you so much for leading us through the discussion, Tarell. I don't see him on my screen. He may have already dropped. But so I'm just going to go through, I guess, the questions that I see. Tracy Viciedo Hernandez, if you want to unmute.
Hi, Dean Bailey. I know, you're so excited to see me.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
It's like become a man. I knew you when you were like 3 feet tall.
Isn't that terrifying? But actually, I want to speak to that because you saw me for who I was much before, like long before I did. And I think that that's really interesting. And especially since I was acting going into NT, that was a whole thing. But then with dance, like that's kind of my brand now. And that's crazy to me. And so like that spirit of fear and also chance is something that I take with me every single day, and it has propelled me into, I think, success. And it's, I think, what people comment on me about the most is how willing I am to be afraid and to take risk. And I think that is something that very much was instilled in me by you. And yeah, that's
I share your story a lot because Ian didn't like his dance class and said he couldn't dance. And he came to see me and I said, well, you're an actor, pretend you can dance, act like you can dance. And he became a dancer and a beautiful dancer. And so I'm very proud of you, Ian.
And now MT emphasis at BOCO, not bad.
Dance
Yeah.
Dance M. Well, I'm okay. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And you made everyone feel heard. Very that.
Good. Thank you,
And
Ian.
on my screen, let's see, we'll go to Diana Lozano.
Diana.
So my question is, what is your advice for the faculty you're leaving behind?
Oh my God. They need to continue what they're doing. They work very, very hard and probably need to take a bit of a break themselves. But really to keep that New World spirit alive, because there's something about working at New World which isn't true of anywhere else, where this is a collaborative effort with all the faculty all the time and really working together and to keep that spirit. It's just so important. But I feel very happy that I'm leaving the division in very good hands with the faculty that we have right now. So, and if Sandra Portell ever wants to come back, call me. We miss you very much.
You called on her. So Sandra, why don't you unmute? And I think you're the next question.
Sorry, I didn't know if you could see my hand. I was like, why do I keep on getting, no. Oh, so Patrice, Well, I was a New World baby, but in the dance division. And I remember that you took a chance with me being 23 and giving me the opportunity to teach. Thankfully you were an FSU grad as well. So you know, Knowles kind of stick together. But I just want to thank you for that opportunity, because I feel that during the time, 17 years that I've taught at New World, you saw me get married, 2 kids, and
Really?
and yeah, right. I mean, my life literally passed by, and yeah, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I've had to work with all the students and all of my colleagues. I feel that they've helped me grow in my artistic practice as well. So thank you so much for that.
I forget that I've known you that long. It's like, oh my gosh, she's only 23.
I was a baby.
You were a baby.
And I love the fact that you let me have the job, but then at the end of the year, you were like, okay, so now you can come back, because I've been literally interviewing you the whole year. And I was like, oh, okay, I see how it works.
Look what a good teacher you are. You're wonderful.
You
So
helped
we
me.
have,
Thank you.
sorry. So,
Thank you, honey.
we've been asked to wrap about 8:15. We have, it looks like 6 questions left. So let's go to the rapid fire portion of the program. And I'll just kind of take them in order here. I think Sylvan Seidenman, another individual who needs no introduction. I think you have your hand up, Sylvan. Did you have a question for Patrice or a comment?
I do have a comment. First of all, listening made the drive from the airport back home so much more enjoyable, Patrice, because we're picking up a niece of ours. And so we listened on the phone the whole time, but a fantastic run you've had. I did submit a question ahead, but I guess Tarell McCraney didn't think it was necessary, particularly since he subsumed it, which was, the question was going to be, how did you manage to do such a good job with Rising Stars year in and year out? And you've kind of talked about it, but just fantastic. And of course, everything you did day to day. It was always a pleasure working with you.
And Sylvan, so good to see you. I missed you.
And I miss
Maybe
you.
now that I'm retiring, I can see my old buddies more often.
And we'll go to Deshelle.
No question. I just wanted to tell you that I love you, Patrice. It was such an amazing ride to be at New World while you were there. And I will say, we were your first class, not Randy.
No.
Michi and Dichi. But it was such a wonderful experience to get to work with you and have freshman acting and just be willing to just be yourself. And that's what you brought out of us, to be comfortable being ourselves on stage and then building on that. And I will forever be grateful. And I came out of that school with the best friends of my life that are still in my life.
True.
I graduated in '98 and they're still in my life. So it's been an amazing, amazing experience. And the school is going to miss you dearly.
That's fantastic. And you actually were my first Discovery class, right?
Dr. Seuss.
Yes, the Dr. Seuss show. My first time I did Discovery.
Yeah.
Okay, we're down to our final 3. So Elizabeth Danielle Pujadas.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, hi.
I'm Dean Bailey. I just wanted to come on here to show support and say, well, I can't see your face, I want to see your face. I just wanted to come on here and say congratulations. I feel like New Worlds was one of the hardest 4 years of my life, like the hardest 4 years of my life. But I think as continuing on now, I think you always used to tell us, like, when you leave, you're gonna appreciate it. And I think now in perspective, it's the tough love that you need to help you get through this crazy industry. And I think, you know, all of the teachers that were there for us, and, you know, now I'm still in the industry and thinking of an MFA and auditioning for series. And I feel that even with the training that I got just with the BFA has gotten me pinned for things and almost booked. And it's like New World really did like change the little girl that walked into those doors. And you guys were like my parents. You guys taught me everything. You guys taught me about you know, how to be on time and how to, you know, just do everything. You guys helped us grow up, and thank you for, you know, calling it out and being there, because I think it's easier to just be the nice person and let things slide, but when you're hard, it's because you care. And I'm just really grateful that I got to be a part of that small time, and I want to see you guys' face because I love New World. And
thank you so much. I love you.
Yeah,
It's so great to see your face.
so great to see yours.
And the last two, we have Sabrina, followed by Natalia.
Hi, Dean Bailey.
Hi.
I already told you how much I was going to miss you in your office just Monday. So I just wanted to say I'm going to miss you so much. I was part of the freshman class whose discovery project was on Zoom. I wanted to tell you that I still have the green screen. I just took it off of my wall maybe 2 weeks ago. And every time I see it, I just remember the year that we just had to persevere and push through. And I'm so grateful that I did and that I stayed, because I don't know where I would be with this program, without this program. So I just wanted to thank you for everything. And I told it a million times, but I'm going to miss you so much. That's all I
thank you. I'm going to miss you too.
And to wrap up, the last question, Natalia Rogers.
Hi, Patrice. I would end up going last. I just wanted to say thank you. I don't have a question, obviously. I just wanted to say thank you for giving me a chance. I had a habit of applying to jobs that I had barely any qualifications for, and no one would interview me at all until you came along and interviewed me, and then to my surprise actually hired me. I was like, oh my gosh, I was just kidding. I didn't think they were actually going to hire me. I thought that someone who was actually qualified would get this job. But I want to thank you for giving me a shot when I don't think anyone else would. Not just with students. I think that you see potential in everyone, as far as staff, employees, and everything. And you saw potential in me, and I really appreciate it, because I would still be working part-time at the medical campus, ready to like run in the middle of the street every day. So I really appreciate it.
I tell you, I appreciate you. It's one of the best decisions I ever made in my life is hiring you. You're just an amazing person, and I'm going to miss you so much.
I'm right down the street. I'm right down the street.
Well, the thing is, when she got hired, we only worked together like 2 weeks, because then we had to close because of COVID.
Yeah.
And there was this young woman that didn't really know the department yet, and really learning the hard way. And you are amazing. And I knew you were amazing the first time I met you. She walked in the room with so much charisma. I was like, oh my God, this is it. And Leslie Wilson can attest to that. Both of us went, wow, we got to hire her. So, and thank you, Natalia, for really holding the fort down so much. I really appreciate everything that you've done.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I know the school's in good hands.
Cleo wanted to come to the meeting, so she wanted to say hi.
I also want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I mean, I went around and looked at Zoom, and seeing faces I haven't seen in so long, it means a great deal that you remember, you know, your home where you first started at New World and coming back. And I really hope all of you will get together more with each other. And it's you know, New World is this home for everybody. And it's wonderful to see our students working professionally together. And I think that is so, so important. They spread the New World philosophy around the world. So thank you all for being here. It really means a great deal to me. I can't believe I'm quitting.
Dean Bailey, on behalf of all of us, the alumni community, everyone, it's definitely not goodbye, right? This is a see you soon, certainly. And we're just so grateful that you gave us your time this evening, allowed us to celebrate you, to honor you and your almost 30 years at New World School of the Arts.
Well, 28 years at New World.
Yeah. I mean, fantastic and bravo. And we look forward to your next chapter and seeing you on stage or seeing you directing and just seeing you get some rest. But thank you. And thanks to all that joined tonight. This was a wonderful event. And I hope you feel the love, Dean Bailey, because it's certainly radiating through the screens to you right now. So
I do. And thank you all again. And thank you to Patrick and Amy and Tarell and David for putting this together. I really appreciate it. I didn't expect to do something like this, so it was such a great idea. And so everybody, if you're not in the Alumni Association, join tonight And it's just a great organization to be involved with. So thank all of you for planning this for this evening. It means a lot.
Wonderful. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Love you all.
Thank you.
Bye. Love you all, people.
Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.
Alexi, good to see you.
Thank you,
Great to see
Patrice.
everybody.
Good night.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Good night.
Hope to see you all again soon.
Bye. Thank you, Dean Bailey.
Bye. Love you.
I love the Zoom vibes.
Oh my God. So good to see you.
Bye, Dean Bailey.
Enjoy your vacation.
Mr. Herman, how are you?
And I love you, Jim.
Bye, Jim. I love you, Jim. I love you.
I love you too.
Jim is always
I love you too.
popular.
Patrice, you changed my life.